Yeah, so the mailman came from England today. Made a long drive. This is a used tie rod end from, oh dear me, hang on, I'll find out. Anyway, here I am, here from Revington. I've looked all over the place to find, I just wanted that nut right there. Hopefully that nut fits. But I'll use the new bit anyhow. It looks to be in pretty good shape. I don't know if it's in any better or worse shape than my old one, but I'll use it because they've got it all put together and it's nicely greased up and set to go, so we'll see what happens. Anyhow, that finishes all the bits I need on the Triumph TR7 to be able to get it inspected. Yay! So I'll get it on there, I'll do a wheel alignment on it, and then take it out and see how it feels. Yeah, nothing is exactly the same. Here's mine right here, and you can see that it's got a ball and socket joint there, similar as this has got a ball and socket joint, but this goes directly onto the end of the steering rack. This part here goes onto the end of the steering rack, I'm sure, except not the same size as mine. Hopefully that part in there is the same size thread as this part here, because then I can make things work, I think. Just give me a minute here and I'll take it apart and see. Yeah, I'm still not the right stuff. This thing, you see the size of that right there compared to the size of that right there, so this one here is too big. This end here is too small. Oh, everything is too something or other. So, oh dear me, that's a little bit disappointing. But I did think about this over the time, and what I will do, the thing is to be able to lock this in position, and so that it's going to hold this thing here snug and not back out. The way that one, this is a later model or an earlier model or likely a later model, or maybe who knows. But the way that one works is that it tightens everything together, the way that together there, and then hooks onto the rack with this thing at a set snugness. Then you just tighten that onto the rack, that other bit onto the rack, and maybe it's got a lock washer on there of some sort. Who knows? So what I'll do is I'll manufacture a bit of a lock washer, like that's what I want to be able to do, is to make this so that once it's on it doesn't turn off, but I wanted to make it so it's removable and be able to fix with the right bit someday in the planetary future, right? Maybe. So what I'll do is I'll weld a little bit of metal on here, about that much, and just use it for a locking tab, and then I'll lock it. I'll weld it on on the car. I'll weld it on also, so that it's going to stop that from turning. Make this just to the right snugness, right? So this turns reasonably easy, but not too easy. And then it's got a grease hole right here. You can just fill that full of grease from, however you want to. Anyway, that will be what it'll be, I think, because that's, seems that I'm never going to ever find the right part for it. So I'll see what I can do about making a little tube fit over this and then make it into a locker. I'll do a little bit of design work on that and then put it together. Yeah, there's the kind of the thing. Now I've just put the tack weld here. Well, tack welds along this thing here, right? And then I've got it so that I can just pound that into the steering rack part. And then I'll just put a tack weld somewhere along there to keep it from turning out once I get the right tension on it. And that'll be easy to cut loose again sometime if I need to. And it'll also be solid and safe for using on the highway. Because I was scared this thing would just turn off and then all of a sudden one wheel wouldn't be steering, right? There you go. Yeah, here's what I'm on, the TR7. So now I'm underneath there, I'll show you in a minute. The that device that I made, I filled it up. Well, I didn't fill it up, but I put quite a bit of synthetic grease in there. The same kind you use on your brakes when you're doing brake work. Anyhow, and there it is now onto the spot, right? So what I'm going to do, like I made this thing here so you can press it in, and I'm going to make it, then take the pliers and press that in. But first, I'll tighten this tight, and then I'll loosen it off a little bit, and then I'll put it together at this end here to close enough, and then afterwards I'll do a wheel alignment and we'll go through that. Yeah, there now I've got it. Where is that? That's the tire, right? So that's the tie rod where the wrench is hanging from. So I've got it so it's, you know, reasonably straight wheels. I think they're both pointing out a bit. And in here, steering wheel is straight across, right? So now I'm going to get my stuff out, and what I do is I set a fishing line along here from about there, from about up there somewhere to way back there, just at the back of the car. And then I set up the fishing line so it's about 1 inch off of the hub here, 1 inch off the hub here, 1 inch off the hub back there, and then you can start measuring it. And I want about 1 millimeter across from here to here. I want about a 0.5 millimeter toe in when I'm done with it, and that's pretty good for an alignment at the garage, right? An alignment at home. I did look up the specs on it, and the toe in is supposed to be so many degrees over this and that and the other thing, and I did figure it out. I did some ciphering and I figured out about 1 millimeter is what it wants. Yeah, so here's kind of the setup. I don't know if you can see that, but I've got a fishing line running from right there, hey, all the way back to this chair here, to right there on the chair. Then I can move that line up and down if I need to, and I can move the line up and down on the front part there if I need to. Then I've got this measured out right here, so you can see that where my finger and the fishing line crosses my finger maybe. So that's about 2 centimeters to the center of the hub there, right? Then I did the same here. This is right where the fishing line crosses my fingers, about 2 centimeters. Now, so that makes a straight line along the axis of the car, we hope. Along the, straight line along parallel to the car. Then I can start measuring here. So I want to measure here and measure here. So on each side of the tire, measure there, and then measure there across the center of the tire. Then that will give me the toe in or toe out, right? So I want this to be 0.5 millimeter farther out than this. So, and all you need is, I wonder where my measuring thing is, like all you need is a pretty good measuring thing here. So this one right now, I don't know, can you see that? Where is it? Yeah. I don't know if you can read that or not, but it's around about, 1.2 centimeters, right? And at the back side of it, it's around about 3 centimeters. So this one here is towing out by quite a bit. So I'll turn it in until it gets towed in to the right amount, close to the right amount. Then I'll start doing some fine tuning on it after that. But that'll be for tomorrow because I'm just out of day today. And so it's set to go for tomorrow. I'll get the alignment done on it, and then I'll bring the welder over and weld that little bit on the front end of it there. In the meantime, that's okay. I'll come out and finish setting up. I'll get both sides set up the same way with the fishing line. That'll be all ready to go tomorrow. So fishing line is good because you can kind of pull it tight and it doesn't sag. I don't know if you can see that line going right along the edge of the car there. Anyway, there you go. That's how I lined them up. Yeah, here I am back at it. Let me see. So I watch a thing. I was out doing some filling potholes. I've got this little grader I built a number of years ago, and it works pretty good. But I watched a thing on YouTube, a guy called Biff's Equipment, B-I-F-F, and I'll put a link, somewhere out there. It'll be a link, I don't know where. And he's pretty good. He's got a little Kubota BX, which is half the size of this tractor again, and he does a really, really good job of moving dirt and grading and all that kind of stuff. So if you watch him a bit, you might get some clues on how to, move a little bit of dirt around or make a decent grade. Anyhow, the road is not this part of the road, but the road out there. There were some potholes, so I went and fixed them up and makes for smooth driving. There, that's that story done. Now back to the task at hand here. I've got the Triumph TR7 today, and I've got my fishing line set up here, so it goes right across and follows the same distance from the rear axle as it is from the front axle, and I'll do it in the same on the other side. Then I'll set up the pointing everywhere. So the same distance from the front axle as it is from the rear axle, and I'll set up the same thing on the other side, and then finish aligning the wheels. I want about a millimeter, like a half a millimeter toe in, half a millimeter toe in here, half millimeter toe in on the other side, and that will make it 1 millimeter toe in. There you go. Anyhow, so I'll set it up and I'll show you. Yeah, so there, can you see that? There's a fishing line there just above my hand. So I measured this. Where's my stick? Measuring stick, right? So at 2 centimeters approximately, it doesn't have to be exact, around 2 centimeters there. And then down here, around 2 centimeters there. That's close enough for this one here. I have to push in a tiny bit because it's a little bit too wide. So all you do is push the chair over a bit and remeasure. So that's 1.8, 1.7 there about. And here it's about 1.7 again. So that's pretty well, that's in line with the axis of the car. Now I'll check the other side and see how close I got here. So now I've got to get around all this stuff, right? Because you don't want to be kicking the fishing line around. Don't want to be kicking your fishing line around, right? So over on this side here, on the front here, 1.9, and on the back 1.9. So they're both the same on the front and back on this side, and so that would be in those two lines are parallel with the axis of the car, right? Or parallel to the car as far as the running gear goes. And like Yvonne, I was watching Yvonne on the Rusty Beauties the other night, and he was doing this similar thing, but he was just setting up the back wheels of a car, and he had a different way of doing things, which works just as well. And his was, I wonder what I was talking about there. Anyhow, I watched Yvonne, so this is just a different way of doing it, and I want to just set the front alignment, not the back alignment. So anyhow, this line is parallel to the car, and I'll set the front alignment from that. So it should be right now, what does it read here? Let's see. On this part right here, it reads, 2.6, right? And on this part here, it reads 1.4 or 1.5, 1.4 say. So this one here has to be towed in a whole bunch. And if I go to the other side, which is through here, oops, just about walked into my system there. Just like walking into a spider's web because you can't see it. So the front wheel, this one here, is about 1 centimeter out. And this one here is about 3 centimeters out. So both of them have to be towed in quite a bit. Then the third thing to check is alignment of the steering wheel. So make sure that your steering wheel is straight to where you want it to sit when you're driving down the road straight. And right now I've got to turn that a little bit. So that means all the other measurements change, right? But about right there. Then you just measure again. Right, so this is around 1.2. And this one here is around about 3. So it's got to turn in, it's got to wind in quite a bit on the front here, wind in quite a bit on the front at the other side. Then I'll check it again. I'll go down underneath and turn. Well, I'll show you. Here. This is a pretty long take, eh? Anyway, so you go underneath the car. I've got this thing for going underneath the car. Sometimes you can reach in from the side or whatever, but I've happened to have it up on things here, so that makes it easier to get into. Now, turn on the light right there. The light eventually will make some light. Can you see that? Yeah, you see this is my wrench hanging down. So this has got to be turned in quite a bit. Pipe wrenches are a great thing because they just loosen by themselves and then tighten by themselves. They're a fine machine. We'll sort of check right there and then see how things are. So now, let's turn that in about a 1/4 inch there. Watch out I don't hit that. Don't hit all my stands. Yeah, and then drive over my shirt. Oh well, I'll get out of here. Eventually, old man trying to get up from the ground. Very difficult sometimes. So now I've turned that quite a bit. So first thing to do is just check see how the steering wheel turned. So I want to put the steering wheel back to wherever normal is on it. Sometimes it's not as easy to turn as you want it to be, but now steering wheel's at normal-ish. And no point aligning it unless you have a normal steering wheel. So now it's at 2 here, 2 centimeters, right? And on the front half, it's 2 and a tiny bit. So that's pretty close to being right. Now I'll just go and do the other side, the same idea. And that would be one car lined up fairly close to being, for good for driving down the highway. So there you go. That's how I do it. I'll show you when I get it done. Yeah, now so after quite a bit of time of getting things right and getting things wrong, I've got this fairly precise measuring tool here. So just at the back of the rim, right? So I'm going to give it, this one here should be a little bit, 1 millimeter bigger, or about a millimeter bigger than the other one. Difficult to get this with one hand. Okay, so there it says 2.6 and a bit millimeters, right? This one here should be 1 millimeter larger. About there. And it says here 2.75. 7.5, yeah. So I'm pretty close with that one right now. Happy there. Happy-ish there. I'll check the other side. The other side might need some more adjustment. Because you got to go back and forth and back and forth, and then make sure the wheel is straight, and then they go back and forth a bunch more. Then you got to turn it the wrong way a couple of times before you figure out, oh shit, I'm going the wrong way. It's getting bigger all the time, right? So now this one here, these won't be the same because the measurement from the hub might be a little bit different. So about right. Oh shit. Try this again. Again, difficult to do with one hand. Okay, right about there is 3.1. So this one here should just be 3.2 or somewhere around there, right? This one here should be just slightly bigger. About there. And it's also 3.1. So I'm not going to try for a 0.5 millimeter. I'm not going to try because it's actually a 0.5 millimeter per side. And so if this side is equal, that side there has got 1. So each of them got a 0.5 millimeter in it. So now I'll just tighten it all together. Tighten it all together, check it once again, and then be happy with it. The steering wheel is reasonably straight. Not 100% straight, but reasonably straight. So I'll tighten it all down, check it once again, and then see if I'm a happy guy. Seems to work though. It seems to get the wheels lined up reasonably well. Then I might just take it out for a spin. I did get over there, just in the mail, or the UPS guy, happy UPS guy, brought a new set of injectors for that guy there. So that might be the next project on the list here today. We'll just see. I'm waiting for injector seals to come, but I could use the old seals for now. Anyway, I'll check in with you when I get this thing back tightened down and off the ramp. Yeah, so there. Now I've got them all measured up, tightened down and measured up. So this one here, this side here, there's a 1 millimeter toe in. This is 2.72 on this side when you measure, and it's 2.82 on this side when you measure. On the other side, over there, when you measure it, it's 3.2 and 3.2. There, so that side there is absolutely straight with the car. This side here has a 1 millimeter toe in. So over the two sides, there's a 0.5 millimeter per side, right? So that's what it's supposed to be, 1 millimeter total for the whole thing. So it's right. Now, as far as camber and caster is kind of set at the factory. Camber, you can adjust a bit of the camber up here. Somebody had put some adjusting holes in. I've set it back like one of the videos long time ago. I had a video of setting the car up, and I set it back to what I thought was factory, the way it came out of the factory. Who knows with this car, but everything on this car is a little bit out of shape because it was bent pretty badly back here one time. You can see the ripples still in the bodywork there. Most of them I got out, but not all of them. So now I'm happy with the alignment. I'm going to get my welder and just put a tab of weld on the inside attachment there, so it's not going to go anywhere, and it'll be easy to remove it another time if I have to. There you go. I think we're just about ready to call up for inspection on this car. Yeah, so here it is. I think I'm ready for inspection. So, like we call it MVI here. Over there in England they call it, oh, what do you call it over there? I forget. Anyway, motor vehicle inspection here, and they check it mechanically to make sure that all the steering and the signal lights work and the headlights work and all that kind of stuff, and the horn and all that. So it all works. So I'm ready for that, and anything that needed replacing underneath has been replaced. The steering is good. I'm happy now, and it's aligned, so it looks all right. So now, next is to phone up Haggerty and get some insurance, and then after that I'll phone up and get an appointment for doing an inspection. There you go. Yeah, so there it is, nice and clean. I'll take a few pictures of it. So that'll be all right now. I'll just see if I can get an appointment for an MOT. That's what they call it in England, MOT. Over here you call it vehicle inspection. Okay, there you go. TR7 ready to go. Yeah, the daily approach. See if anything's in the pond today. Down past the buoy display. And out to the beach. Now I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's I think that's a muskrat out there on the log. I'll see if I can zoom in. Now, he might move or he might not. Non-moving. So that doesn't make much for video, does it, hey? Anyway, there you go. Suppose I could throw a rock out there, eh? Don't think I will, though. And to the beach we go. There's a bunch of birdies out there doing whatever birdies do along the pond. Oh, somebody must be down there. There's a bag. Yeah, Linda's here. Hunting glass. Or, not Linda. Sandra. Sandra's here hunting glass.